So it is basically the governance of the nuclear powers. For example, how they are going to manage the warhead, how this entire nuclear scenario is going to play out. But there are 4 other countries which are having the nuclear weapons. Now, in order to reduce that, if there should not be any other country that should possess, the testing should be prohibited. There is also going to be an issue in the Middle Eastern states, including Saudi, Iran, which may also pursue the weapon testing and also doing the collaboration with multiple countries. Now we are going to put the moratorium. We are not going to test it again till the point of time the circumstances will not lead us to do the same, which is going towards war, or the world which is going towards peace. So in that particular case, there is a need to take all the partners which are responsible for the nuclear proliferation, which may be responsible for the nuclear proliferation. They're all countries, including the P5, including the 4 de facto countries. Hello everyone, I am Vishal Salsekar, and today we are going to discuss the topic which is important from the international relations perspective, which is regarding the global nuclear order, which is right now crumbling. So have you seen the tweet that was posted by the President of United States of America when he was about to fly towards China? The tweet was saying that I have ordered the Department of War to ready with the testing of the nukes. What does this particular tweet says? Basically, when the Department of War is not at all concerned with the testing and the stockpile, it is basically about the readiness. But still, the tweet that was being posted by the President of United States that says that basically we are now allowing the testing of the new nuclear aspects. So in that sense, it is giving an indication that the world can now move towards another nuclear arms race. Now what it has triggered? It has alerted Russia. It had alerted China. It is also a lesson for the countries like India and maybe the Pakistan, because he has alleged that the countries like China and Pakistan are also doing the testing. So that means the order that was established roughly with the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty in the 1960s that had ensured the nuclear apartheid towards certain countries in order to not go nuclear, now that particular nuclear order is about to get crumbled. And when this order will be crumbling, in that sense, it is going to lead to the nuclear arms race. So in that sense, it is making the entire world as a not safe place to reside. So in that case, we have to discuss entirely this particular topic. And having discussed about this topic, we will discuss also regarding what is the stand of India and what are the credentials of India, right? So talking about this topic, before this, we have to see the gravity of the situation, because when we were talking about that for 1945, when nuclear power was utilized for the first and the only time in the history, now, after roughly 80 years after that, we have seen the rise of the nuclear powers, and we have also seen the reduction as far as the nuclear arsenals are concerned. So once it was roughly 65,000 nuclear warheads across the globe. Now it has reduced somewhere around, let's say, there is a reduction of, most probably it is by 12,000 or 13,000 nuclear warheads. But still, when the testing is going to be allowed, it can lead to the further nuclear arms race. So you can see the stockpile which is being headed by Russia and the United States, but then there are certain other countries that may follow the path if this arms race is going to continue, right? So in that case, we have to discuss about what is the present global nuclear regime. Along with that, when we have to discuss about the nuclear regime, we have to also discuss about the factors which are leading to the decline or crumbling of this particular regime, and along with that we will also trying to discuss regarding what will be the stand of the countries like India and China in this particular regard. Now when we talk about the global nuclear regime, what exactly is it? So it is basically the governance of the nuclear powers. For example, how they are going to manage the warhead, how this entire nuclear scenario is going to play out, whether the countries are supplying the nuclear weaponry or the technologies to any other country. So the entire thing from the production of the weapons to the supply to incorporating that into the defense related establishment, and along with that supplying the technology to other countries, monitoring, safeguard, all these parts are part of the nuclear regime, which is the global nuclear regime. Now it is consisting of certain specific aspects. So first is the treaties, because these treaties decides that what will be the future of the nuclear. For example, whether the testing of the nuclear detonation is allowed or not, whether there is any specific proliferation of the nuclear weapon is allowed or not. So the NPT and the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty are specific thing with this particular regard, and also the bilateral treaties. For example, the US and the Russia, which have signed the New START treaty roughly in early 2000s, that is also one such thing which is in the perspective of treaties. When we talk about the norms, it is talking about certain treaties which have not been right now in the application, but that has put the nuclear question so much that it has created the nuclear taboo. For example, there is a treaty which is known as the Treaty for the Prohibition of the Nuclear Weapons, which was signed in 2017. It is again not in force, but still it is created certain taboo in order to not possess more and more nuclear weapons. Talking about the institutions, it is the International Atomic Energy Agency, which is responsible for monitoring, supervision, and also to check that whether the nuclear related stockpile is not being utilized in order to create the bombs, or there should not be the enrichment beyond a certain level. Talking about that there are certain technology regimes also. So there are certain export control regime, which includes the nuclear suppliers group, which includes the missile technology control regime. The nuclear supplier groups is basically responsible for preventing the supply of the nuclear related raw material or the technology related to the development of the nuclear stockpile. Along with that, the MTCR, which is like whatever technologies which can carry the warhead, like the ballistic missiles, cruise missiles. Along with that, certain other technologies which can carry that particular warhead, those also should be restricted. There should not be much proliferation. Talking about the doctrine, so this is the country specific thing. So for example, there is no first use of the nuclear weapon in the case of the conventional warlike scenario. So in those cases, the no first use policy, for example, the policy that has been mentioned as a part of the India's nuclear doctrine, and along with that there is certain things which are known as the credible minimum deterrence. That means when we are possessing the nuclear weapons, there should be the credible deterrence that we should be keeping in order to prevent any adversary actor or the enemy to attack on us. That's why these doctrines are also very, very important, and they also play a very important role as far as the global nuclear regime is concerned. Talking about the last aspect, which is about the verification system. So when you are going to impose all these things, how you are going to verify that whether these things are working properly, whether there is NPT. That NPT ke according, if the certain country should not allow accessing those particular nuclear related technologies, who is going to verify? The role of IAEA, and again in the context of the artificial intelligence, what will be the changing of the roles of these organizations? All these constituting the part of the global nuclear governance structure or the global nuclear regime, right? Now, having discussed about the global nuclear regime, now there are certain pillars, briefly we have seen, but there are certain pillars which are very, very important when it comes to the global nuclear order or regime. Now, order is something like when we arrange the power in certain manner. So like this also, there are certain things which are very, very important when it comes to the nuclear related possession. So first thing, whenever any specific country, let's say tomorrow any country wants to develop the nuclear weapon, there will be obviously certain possession of the nuclear material. So there is the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, that those countries which are the nuclear ones should not supply their technology to the other countries. So there should not be any proliferation of the nuclear technology, because once it was considered at the time period of roughly 1962, when the world was again on the verge of another nuclear war in the context of the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now at that point of time, it was realized that there should be a treaty that is needed in order to prevent the proliferation of the nuclear weapons. That's why the NPT was signed. So this is the backbone which is for prevention of the proliferation regime of nuclears. And in that case, right now, after the tweet of the President of United States of America, this is again under the crumbling order, because if that particular testing is again initiated, there will be proliferation and other countries might also go on the same path. That's why it is under strain. Next is the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. So Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty says कि भाई there are only P5 member, permanent 5 of UNSC, that can legitimately carry the nuclear weapons. Other than that, there should not be any other possessor. But there are 4 other countries which are having the nuclear weapons. Now, in order to reduce that, if there should not be any other country that should possess, the testing should be prohibited. And in order to prohibit that particular testing, this comprehensive test ban treaty was being utilized in order to prevent any new testing done by any specific country. Now, comprehensive test ban treaty, obviously there are certain countries which already possess the nuclear weapon. They have a lot of technology with them. Now, many of these countries have not ratified, including China and US. And also many such countries like India, Pakistan have not signed this comprehensive test ban treaty. That's why it is not legally enforceable as of now. Talking about the fissile material cutoff treaty, that means no country should now supply the fissile material to the countries which is where the chances are very, very high that they can develop the nuclear weapon. So the fissile material ke transfer ko prevent karna is about that. And that's why there are certain countries which are still having stockpile of the nuclear weapons, but that is in the limited amount. For example, Pakistan, small amount of nuclear weapon. So they wanted to prevent this particular treaty in order to ensure that their nuclear program should continue. Because if this is signed, this will be enforced. In that case, their nuclear program can get hampered. Next is talking about the IAEA safeguards, which is about the monitoring, which is about ensuring supervision, which is about audit of the nuclear installation, that the civilian purpose ke liye nuclear aspect should not be diverted now towards the utilization for the weapon grade uranium. Now, talking about that, when we are in the age of artificial intelligence, there is AI driven weapon system, there are low yield tests that can be there. And in that scenario, obviously the chances are very, very high that even without the actual test, there can be utilization of the test, but under this ambit. So that's why it is also important in order to keep the safeguard. This is also one such pillar of the global nuclear order. Talking about the export control regime, there is nuclear suppliers group, we have discussed. There is the missile technology control regime, we have discussed. There are certain other regimes, for example, Australia group for the chemical and the biological weapons. So if there are chances that any specific technology can be utilized in order to portray against the other country in the form of chemical and biological weapon, that can also be there. Lastly is the Wassenaar agreement, which is again the group of countries which is preventing the utilization and transfer of the dual use technology. Means the normal technology that might be utilized for the aviation can be also utilized for the ballistic missile development. Lastly, talking about the bilateral arm control. Now, as we have seen in that diagram, that there are two countries which are possessing one of the largest nuclear warheads, roughly responsible for the 90% of the global nuclear stockpile. And in that case, there are certain treaties were being signed. For example, anti-ballistic missile treaty between the US and the USSR at that point of time in the 70s. Talking about the INF treaty, which is again for the intermediate range from 500 kilometer to 5,500 kilometer ballistic missiles and other that can carry the nuclear weapon, their deployment should be prevented basically from the ground-based sources, right? Lastly is the New START, which is about to get complete in the Feb of 2026. Other two treaties have already gone because either US or Russia have taken back, and New START treaty is also about to end. So this is also one such important thing which prevented the proliferation, but now there is crumbling of this aspect also. In that sense, all these things you can see there is a strain, and when this particular strain will go beyond certain level, obviously the chances are very, very high that there may be crumbling of this particular order. Now, talking about that, once President Trump tweeted about that we are now going to resume the testing, what kind of wave or what kind of message it had portrayed. So when we talk about this US posture, because right now we can say posture only because he has said this thing, right now it has not been done. And even talking about that, he has mentioned about the Department of War. Now, Department of Energy is mainly responsible for testing and the other thing with respect to nuclear weapons. And when it comes to the Department of War, it is responsible for the actual deployment. So in that case, though it might be a misidentified institution, but it is giving the message to the world that right now we are in the thinking mode. Tomorrow we can even initiate. And that's why you should be alert. Talking about the modernization program, again, the countries are developing their own arsenal. They are doing whether the submarine-based missiles or whether any other type of missiles that can tomorrow carry the nuclear warheads. They are the nuclear warheads capable. So that's why it is also very, very important to understand the United States posture. Talking about the Russia's new nuclear system. So Russia has also tested certain missiles that are capable to take the nuclear warhead. For example, Poseidon underwater nuclear drone that was there. Again, They are developing upon those particular technologies where they can utilize that in the nuclear domain also. Similarly, nuclear powered cruise missiles. So they are doing the capacity building, right? Already they are possessing a lot of nuclear stockpile. They are building the capacity. Talking about the China's rapid expansion, because when US is going to alter, it is bound that Russia should change its strategy. It will also be expanding the China's expansion of the nuclear regime, because when we compare US and Russia, they are roughly comparable as far as the nuclear domain is concerned. But the China is roughly having, let's say, 600 or 700 warheads. Now there are chances that China could reach to roughly 1000 warheads by 2030, and this will be the alarming situation, considering that we are one of the neighborhood country of China and we are also a de facto nuclear power. That's why it is important to understand this policy, and in order to identify that what will be the response from the side of India. Now talking about what happens if the explosive testing resume, because right now they are doing the simulation based testing, they are understanding the scenario through the artificial intelligence, and even the zero yield type of testing is already being there, which all are basically not lying under the CTBT wala domain. But then if the explosive testings are going to take place where you are going to see the clouds like mushrooms, in that case, now once US is going to do, it will be ensuring that China and Russia are going to do the same thing. Obviously, India will also be forced, because China is the neighborhood country of India, and in that case, it will cause the insecurity dilemma for India, where the rising power of China will put insecurity on India. And China is also having nexus with Pakistan. So when China is going to build its arsenal, obviously Pakistan is also going to get help. That's why both these things ke context mein, it is India which is forced to now ensure its testing, because 1998 was the latest time when we have detonated the thermonuclear experiment. Okay? And in that case, now if we are not going to retest our instruments with the enhanced capability, now maybe a chance that there might be certain issues at the runtime situation. Talking about that, now once these countries are going to be entangled in this situation, Middle East, which is already a burning hotbed of majority of the conflict, there is also going to be an issue in the Middle Eastern states, including Saudi, Iran, which may also pursue the weapon testing and also doing the collaboration with multiple countries. Regarding Iran, already we had seen, right? Now, once this scenario is going on, that means the treaty which was about to take place regarding prevention from testing, which is the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, signed in 1996. Now in that particular case, don't you think so that this is also going to collapse? Now if this collapse, then there will be proliferation of the nuclear weapons, and this treaty, which is the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which says that there should not be proliferation of the nuclear weapons, this treaty is also going to lose its credibility. And finally, you are going to see a destructive global arms race, which is also nuclear. That's why it is entirely going to pose a situation which will be very, very complex for the world. And this is going to unravel the global nuclear regime, which will be harmful for the entire world. Now, talking about the entire scenario, now let's discuss India's position and what type of challenges India might also face. So talking about the India's strength, yes, we have already showed to the world that we are a responsible nuclear power. We have ensured through our nuclear policy, which was for the first time being put on the surface in 2003, which says that we are not going to use it first against any other country which is going for the conventional war. If there will be any nuclear war against India, then India is going to use. That means no first use policy. Then the credible minimum deterrence, that means we are not going to compete or do the arm race, but what we are going to do, we are going to ensure that whatever credible and the minimum deterrence that will be needed in order to ensure our existence, and that will also put the threat to the other countries, that if they are going to dare to attack on India, in that cases we are not going to leave them. The kind of deterrence we have shown in the case of the Operation Sindoor, now there may be a chance that Operation Sindoor 2.0 may also happen, right? Then voluntary moratorium that we ourselves have said 1998 may we have tested. Now we are going to put the moratorium. We are not going to test it again till the point of time the circumstances will not lead us to do the same. Talking about the IAEA compliance, because already India ke jitne reactors hai, all of them are in the IAEA related safeguards. So in that case, basically it's being audited, it's being put under the check of the IAEA. That means India is not doing any irresponsible behavior. Lastly, talking about the missile technology control regime, apart from the nuclear suppliers group, all of them India is member, including the Australia group, Wassenaar arrangement, everywhere India is a member. That shows the credibility of India, and that also gives an idea that tomorrow India is also eligible for becoming the permanent member at the UNSC and de facto nuclear power. Now, talking about the India's challenge, obviously, when there will be arm race, it will not be impacting India. ऐसा तो होगा नहीं. So there will be impact on India also. The China's rapid expansion will going to cause the insecurity dilemma for India. Similarly, if China will grow, Pakistan will also follow the same pace, because we have already seen during the time period of Operation Sindoor, there was the nuclear threat that was being provided from the side of China. So Pakistan also wants to develop the tactical nuclear weapon, the small scale one, which can be utilized easily at the time period of war. Now, talking about this nexus, this is going to ensure the nuclear entanglement between these countries, and this is going to put a lot of stress on India and entire world also. Lastly, talking about the potential need to rethink the no first use order. In that case, there may be a chance that India also need to rethink about its own nuclear doctrine, jahan par there is a need to alter the no first use and certain other things, and we should also actively participate in this particular testing wala regime. That means in any way it is going to ensure that the world is going or moving towards the nuclear arm race. Now, talking about the way ahead, which is a very, very important thing, that what kind of world we want to see. Whether we want to see a world which is going towards war or the world which is going towards peace. So in that particular case, there is a need to take all the partners which are responsible for the nuclear proliferation, which may be responsible for the nuclear proliferation. They're all countries, including the P5, including the 4 de facto countries, including India, Israel, Pakistan, and also North Korea, to come on the same platform, discuss about the great power dialogue with respect to the nuclear non-proliferation. Talking about the testing, there is a need to preserve CTBT, because if this crumbles, if this goes, then eventually the testing is going to lead the entire situation, because at the time period of Cold War, there was 2 major power, but right now in the multipolar global order, there are multiple power of the similar level, and in that case, it will be comparatively harmful. Talking about the 21st century related issues, we have to also ensure that there should be the nuclear architecture which is based upon the philosophy and the thought process of the 21st century. Talking about the regulating emergency military technology, emerging military technologies. So in that case, eventually it is very, very important, because right now it's not limited to just the ballistic and the cruise missile. There are multiple variety of the things, even including the new and emerging technologies, that is also very, very important in order to incorporate. Talking about the IAEA, because many a time if the country prevents cooperation with IAEA might not do a lot of things. So there should be strengthening of IAEA, including the utilization of artificial intelligence and the crypto and the cyber technologies in order to incorporate the prevention of any harm to this regime. Lastly, talking about the regional nuclear risk reduction dialogue, like the START, which was the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty. Like this, there should be treaties that should be encouraged between the countries which are the major responsible partner. So ensuring all these will ensure the world as a comparatively habitable place. And when we are talking about achievement of the Sustainable Development Goal before 2030, the sustainable development will come once we are going to sustain. The nuclear wall is going to hamper even the existence of the humanity on the earth, and that's why preventing any specific arm race is of utmost importance in order to prevent any such crumbling of the global nuclear order. So with this, we have completed the discussion regarding how the global nuclear order is right now crumbling and what might be the chances or the things that are available with the world in order to prevent this particular situation and make the world as a better place to live. So with this, I am concluding this discussion from the perspective of the UPSC, from the perspective of GS paper 3, a very important topic where India's nuclear doctrine is important, and that's why this discussion regarding the arm race and even from GS paper 2 perspective, international relations, global treaties, it is very, very important topic. So try to utilize these arguments and the analysis in your answer in order to fetch comparatively better marks. And also beyond UPSC, this is going to help you with respect to development of the thought process and making your mind towards what should be the future of the nuclearization. Thank you everyone. Have a great day. We'll meet again.